Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. Well, this video came about after the Wolves defeat yesterday. And what happened, I was interviewing some fans, and a few fans were mentioning the atmosphere yesterday at the Etihad being very, very poor. And there was a guy stood sort of next to me waiting for the interview to be over. And then after we finished, he came over and we were just chatting about it. And he said, I heard you talking there about the atmosphere and things like that. I've got a few thoughts on it. So I said, great, brilliant. And, do you want to come on camera? And he went, absolutely not. He said, I don't want my face on camera. So I said, well, can we film it just basically at your coat level so we don't see your face? And he said, yeah, that's sure. No problem whatsoever. And it'll just be your voice. So he said, yeah, he said, look, I don't want to have a big, massive moan and a grumble and things like that. He said, but I just need to get this off my chest. He said, because it's something I think really needs saying and isn't said enough by certain sections of Man City fans. So I said, fine, go ahead. So we got chatting, and he made some absolutely brilliant points, really points. And I asked him how he wanted to be referred, and he just he said, "Oh, I don't want my name on here." He said, "Just call me Danny." So we're calling him Danny, which is obviously not his real name. But after the I'm going to show you the video, which will be coming up very shortly. And after the video, he said, "Look, I don't want City fans to take this the wrong way." With some of the comments I made, obviously he mentioned things about overseas fans, and he said, I don't have any problems with overseas supporters clubs and all those types of things. My comments were about tourism and the way the club's moving towards this tourist sort of fan base, like all of the Premier League clubs, he said. And I didn't know whether to bring up the references about Manchester bombing, and he talked about pride and everything else. He said, look, don't get me wrong. He said, those things are fantastic. I was using those as examples of the club itself. He said, I've got nothing, I've got no problems with us doing those things, but I was trying to use it as an example of where the club, in my opinion, is going in the future. So he was really honest afterwards, and he said, look, I just need to get this off my chest. I need to say something because it's really frustrating, and today has been one of the worst days from an atmosphere point of view I can remember since we moved to the Etihad. And I tend to agree with him. I thought the atmosphere was terrible yesterday, really poor. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the video now. This is with somebody called Danny giving his thoughts and opinions about where the club is going, why the atmosphere is so bad, and what potentially we could do in the future to try and increase that main road feel, that main road style of atmosphere. And and I think that would certainly help the stadium, help the team, help the players, etc. So anyway, this is Danny. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, if you've not subscribed to Man City Fan TV, go over and subscribe, click the bell icon, and that way you'll be notified of all the videos. And don't forget, go over and watch all the fan cams from yesterday, the 2-0 defeat to Wolves at home. But anyway, take care. We'll see you soon. Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. I'm here with a guy called Danny. He don't want to come on camera, so we're going to record him off camera. Danny, we were just talking there and you heard us talking about the atmosphere today. So give me your thoughts on not only the atmosphere today, but your thoughts on the atmosphere in general at the Etihad.
I think there's been problems with it since we scored that goal against Kiam and lifted the first title, because the club is slowly transformed and it's trying to get there as a global franchise and sell it out across the globe, which is what happens with success. I understand that, it's very hard. If you take a little corner shop baker's shop, yeah, he knows his customers by name. All right, John, how's it going, mate? 2 loaves today, 2 loaves, kind of. And then we're turning to like a Greggs now, where it's just like sold out across the nation, where it loses its personality, it loses its customer service in a way. If I give up my season ticket here, which I actually have done, they're not bothered because someone else is probably going to take my seat now. I know they go on about this Etihad and that, but in the league games, it's generally a sellout here. Bar in the cup games, yeah. Understandable, it's not. But league games, it's usually a sellout. So people will take my seat now. There is tourist fans turning up at the Etihad. Not at the volume of Man United, but I tell you what, it's on the way. It is becoming that. There's a problem with the atmosphere. If I stand up at a game, I'm told to effing sit down. I've actually said that to me before now on the ground. The VAR this season, I think that's took a bit away of celebrating a goal at times. You're waiting for it to go to that. I think that's played a little bit on it. I think the stewards here are a little bit heavy-handed. Most of them are probably Reds anyway, because it's a Man United area. But look, there is problems with the atmosphere. I'm not going to get too down, and people think, Christ, you've had some good success at City in recent years. Of course we have, and it's been brilliant, and I've enjoyed it. But do you know what? This sustained success, is it all that? Having sustained success, is it really? Is it because I think it starts to lose something as a football club? I think we've turned into Man United. I do.
Why? Give me an example of when you say that, because it's a good point. It's something we've discussed on the channel. So give me an example of why you think we've turned into a United. And don't get me wrong. I watched a YouTube channel, a Liverpool YouTube channel last week, and there was a big Liverpool fan, been going for 20 odd years, and he said exactly the same thing. This club, and he's talking about Liverpool, is just become every other tourist club like all the big teams in the Premier League. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think what they're trying to do is sell it across the globe, aren't they, and make it one of the biggest football clubs in the world. Yeah, that's their aim when they came into power. They want to make it huge, and I get all that. I understand all that, but there's carnage left by the wayside, and that is there's not many kids off that local estate in Beswick in this stadium today. There's not many locals in this ground.
But City might come back and say, well, hold on a minute, we give loads of free tickets away to local schools.
Have they really? Well, I didn't know that.
Well, they did for Zagreb anyway the other night, but whether they did today, I don't know.
Why can't they do it for league games as well? I mean, they're making enough money, aren't they?
Good point.
Well, I mean, there's kids in the deprived areas of Moss Side's still a deprived area, Longside, Levenshulme, tough areas, man. Gorton. I don't think there's many people from those areas in this ground today.
Yeah.
I don't think there is. I think it's people come from other areas, whether it's, I live in a decent area, so I'm a bit of a hypocrite. But, I'm in an area where there's a bit of money knocking about. But I don't know if there's many coming here from the most deprived areas. Well, look, City have tried to keep it as a club of the community, but it's very hard to do that when you're growing it at the rate City are. Yeah. Now, fast. But
and how quickly they've grown it.
Yeah, and how quickly. They've grown it quicker than what I imagine how quick it'll go. But I've got to be careful what I say. I mean, I go on camera and that, and people they can start and see and give you grief in the streets, some City fans, because they're like, what you're talking about.
I'm actually pretty much agreement with you.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, I think there is, that's what's wrong with the atmosphere in there, in terms of how it's becoming this global sort of club across the globe. They're trying to sell it out across the globe. I mean, you've got this Paul Dickoff working for the club now. I think he's been going out to China and places like that. I think Mickey Rich is going to sign to it. Sean Knight Phillips has been doing. They're obviously, by the club, getting him to spread the name of Manchester City around the globe. And I used to dream of City being like that, and now we've got it. I don't know whether it's all that. And I know City fans say, what's the matter with you? Like, we're having success, and do you want the dark days back? Of course I don't want the dark days back, but I just think sustained success of what we've had comes at a price, doesn't it? And that is the atmosphere.
Do you think that's the price we have to pay for this success?
I think so, yeah. The price is you start and go to the games, and you've got Johnny Come Lately sat next to you. Who, I came to a game against West Ham when we won the league, and I was having a pint at the time before the game, and I went in, took my seat, and there's a fella there, a young kid. I said, has Kink Clancy been out yet? Because I knew Kinky was meant to be here. He was my first footballing hero. And he went, who's he? This 40-odd-year-old guy. He's obviously just got his kid involved who wants to support City. Yeah. So it's a different generation coming to the games now. It's kids, I went and picked my niece up from school a few years ago, and all the kids had City pack lunch boxes. It weren't happening in 1995, mate. Kids with City pack lunch boxes. It was all Liverpool United. It wasn't
in the 70s and 80s for me either.
Well, I went around them days, but I should imagine it wasn't. But it's like, that's how the club's changed, and I get that's the price of success, I guess. We've got to accept it, but the atmosphere, there is a huge problem with the atmosphere.
Okay, so my question to you is then,
I think it's becoming a middle class sport.
We can't. What are you talking about, City, or are you talking about the Premier League in general?
I think the Premier League in general now. I think when you go to a game now, I think within 10 to 15 years, it's happening now. You go to a game, you've got a doctor one side of you, a teacher the other side of you. People who've got money come to the games now. People who don't have money can't get in here because they can't afford it, man. That's the deep issue of it with football, and it's a shame. It's a shame because the community, the local community, is what makes the football club. And there's no characters on the terraces anymore. Is there any characters on the terraces anymore? They've been driven out.
Yeah.
And I think Margaret Thatcher used it. I've got to be careful what I say here, but I think with the Hillsborough disaster, of course it was terrible, people lost their lives, but I think she used it as a tool to rig hooliganism out of football. But it's gone too much that way now, where it's totally made it Magnolia football on the terraces. You stand up and try and sing, you're told to sit down. You know, some of the stewards can be a bit heavy-handed. It's very strict security measures, and it's lost something, mate.
So we need to find a happy medium if we can. So if we can, how do we do it? And let's say over the next 5 years, is there anything we can do to change this, or is it gone forever?
Well, I think they've got to try and find a way of getting more people in this ground from these inner city suburbs that I've talked about, which they've got to find a way of getting them in there. There's too many people in this ground who are not from... I've got to be careful here, because City fans are going to say, well, I've supported them all my life, it's not my fault we've brought up in Plymouth or wherever. I'm not saying that, but I think there's not enough done to get kids in this ground from these tough local estates who are the future of the football club, in my opinion. You know, you can still have fans from all over the globe coming in. You can't stop that. I accept that's the price of success, that's going to happen. But I think, how many locals are in here today from round here, mate? Is there many? I'd love to know, mate, on a statistic. If City could produce, how many are actually coming to, what areas are from? Places like your Gorton and your Levenshulme and your Longsides and your Moss Side, where, you know, Main Road was, and that. And how many are actually still coming to the games who lived in Moss Side? I don't know. I mean, people will say, oh, there's still a lot. Maybe that isn't the issue. Maybe it's something else. I don't know, but something's got to be done with the atmospheres. Is a safe standing area the answer?
Well, is it? That was going to be my next question. Should we have this wall? Should we have this?
Yeah, well, I think so. Yeah, but is it really going to make? Do you think it'll make much of a difference in the atmosphere?
Well,
I don't know.
I'll put it this way.
Because when you were going, say, back in the 70s, a lot of it was all standing, wasn't it?
Everything was standing. Well, pretty much everything.
So
was
you're not
standing.
going to have one stand standing?
I mean,
it can only help.
I'll be honest with you. I was up in the south stand. I was in 314. Right at the top, there was me and about 20, 30 people right at the back at the top, all stood up. Steward came up, never told us to sit down, which was fair enough. And so we were one section away from the Wolves fans. And that is right next to the Wolves fans. There was hardly any singing. Hardly. Wolves fans were going mental. Yeah. And there was hardly any singing whatsoever from up high, and which surprised me today, because normally there is. Normally up there you do get a lot of singing, and it is pockets. It's banging on the back wall, and it's pockets. But today there was. I was really surprised. There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing.
I don't know how they're going to address it. I don't think it's just. One thing I will say, I don't think it's just City on home there. I think there's other Premier League. I think Arsenal have got issues with their atmosphere. I've been told Anfield has, apart from the European nights, it's pretty quiet.
All right, do you go to away games?
Yeah, the odd few.
So you tell me.
It's a better atmosphere in the away end.
Like Everton last week, we were there. What's the atmosphere like when we go away? So how come? So what we're saying is, how come when we can take 3,000 fans to Everton, Goodison Park like last week, and create an atmosphere like that? Why can't we do it with 3,000 fans? We're talking about 3,000 fans here in Goodison Park making a noise non-stop for 90 minutes. Why can't we get that?
Because I think maybe they split up. Are they? I don't know. Are they sitting together, these lads? I don't know. Are they split up?
They will be split up.
So when they come here, they split up. They're not together, are they?
No, when they come to the Etihad, they're clearly split up. Because
that's your issue then, isn't it?
You'll have some from the south stand, you'll have some from the main stand.
Yeah,
bits and pieces.
They're going to have to try and find a way of getting them. The club's going to have to find a way of finding who's your regulars on the away days, who are these absolute nutcases who are creating the atmosphere, because that's the ones who create it. Yeah. The ones who've had a bit of a beer to drink, and the real hardcore nutcases who create the atmosphere. They're going to have to try and find a way of getting them together in the Etihad in an all-standing area, maybe. There must be a way of doing that.
So how do we do that?
Surely the club must know.
You've got to remember that some of these are in the Colin Bell stand, who have been going for 25 years and go to away games. So Colin Bell stand, we know it's not loud, but we know the majority are in the south stand behind the goal in 115 and 114 and everything else, and up in the north top of the south stand. So do the club build a singing section and say to these fans that they know go to these away games, because let's face it, we know our travelling support is absolutely phenomenal. It sings from minute 1 until minute 95. So do they offer them a really reduced ticket, a free ticket for the first season, and get them all in the same area and try and see whether that creates something?
It's down to the powers up here at Manchester City Football Club. I don't know.
Will that upset the corporates?
Maybe. Yeah, but if you're not sat with the corporates, it's not going to affect them, is it? I mean, I've always called the Colin Bowell stand the Cheshire Flat Caps, because probably all live in Cheshire and they've all got cash on the hip. Eat a meat pie with a fucking knife and fork.
Martin's buggered off. He's in the Colin Bowell.
Eat a meat pie with a knife and fork and all that. I mean, it's just I don't know, man. I mean, there is a serious issue with atmosphere, and I don't know how they're going to address it, because if I stand up and sing, I was in the East Stand lower today. I got a ticket in there, and I stood up at one point, and I had to go out to Otamendi today because he was annoying me, and I got told to effing sit down, and but so it's like I'm not allowed to have a go at a player anymore if I'm not happy, because I've had a good sustained amount of success. That's another thing with City I've noticed, we're becoming I'm going to put it out there, mate. I'm going to say it, and it's going to ruffle a few feathers. I think we're quite a liberal club. I think it's very left-wing liberal, City. Anything to do in with Manchester and that, and if there's anything going on like this, it's like they're creeping on it. It's like they're on it. Like whether it's something to do with I can't say it, but it's like they're creeping on certain things that are happening in Manchester. They're there, with the Manchester bomb and that, and they put a banner out, and then if it's gay pride, they're in on that, and they're in it. They're very happy-go-lucky and very, you can't say this, you can't have an opinion anymore at City because they've had sustained success. If you come out and disagree and say, it was rubbish today, Otamendi needs to go, I'll be shot down for it, I feel. I follow City fans in that. I don't know. That's just the way I feel like that.
Is that right, as a City fan, that you can't have an opinion without being shot down over social media?
No, I don't think,
Twitter.
No, I don't think as long as your opinion. Look, my opinions on City at the moment. The reason why I'm shot down is because 1, the atmosphere is rubbish. I think it's shy. 2, I think we've morphed slowly into Man United. We're certainly on the way to morphing into them. If we're not there already, I feel like we're there already. I seen a girl coming out the ground today, and she had a Man United shopping bag in her hand.
Jesus, says it all, doesn't it?
I'm only speaking the truth here. There's a guy who's not been to Old Trafford, Sam, fella, and he's not been in Old Trafford for over 15 years or something now. He refuses to go. This guy, he'll go and watch him away. He's a solid supporter away on the road, but he won't go in Old Trafford because of what it is and what it's become. And I feel like City's, because of the success it's had, we are slightly morphing into Man United if we're not there already. But I'm very against. I feel like City as an organisation, they have creeped on things to try and get the name out there. Goal. I guess they've got to do that. It's business, innit?
Yeah.
You've got to do that, I guess.
If we're spending 500-600 million quid on players and things like that's got to come in somewhere. Is that you just said? Look, we've got poor areas around the city. We want to see more sort of local fans coming to the ground. Are they the ones that are going to spend the money if they haven't got it, or is that the reason?
Yeah, probably not. But it's really, when we're spending money here on beer and food and that, does that really touch the sides here in terms of their income and that? Does it? I mean, I don't know. Does it make a difference now?
Not even match day revenue.
Yeah, years ago when I was a kid, certainly like you as well. Yeah. No offence on your age, around. I'm just saying, because you're older than me. Your season ticket sales were that was valuable to a club in terms of what they spent on players. Massive. I don't think it is anymore.
No. The season ticket sales and corporate stuff and things, it's irrelevant now. When you're earning 113 million quid for a Champions League run.
Well, Francis Lee once famously said it. He says football players eventually will be millionaires.
Yeah.
And he's been proved right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, they are millionaires. So eventually, they become billionaires. Some of these players with what they're earning.
Well, I can't remember the exact figure, but it's something like over a season, or over a game, City might make 2 million quid if they're lucky from one game, home game, on everything. Season tickets, food, everything else.
Well, that's not even paying one of the players' wages.
We only have to look at the kit deal we just signed, 65 million quid for one season.
Yeah. So all this, what the fans are spending here, doesn't.
It's nothing.
I mean,
it's peanuts.
Maybe they're trying to get to that level because I know Man United. I mean, it's just humongous what they're making, isn't it? I mean, it's just printing money now as we speak. United. It's like it's like the New York Yankees. You see a New York Yankees cap over here. You go to America, you see lads wearing a Man United cap, his shoes like that. Maybe City want to try and get to that level. So maybe they do want a certain type of fan in here who are going to spend money. They want tourists coming who are going to have a full day out and do the ground tour and go to the match on the same day and go and watch the women's team. And it's a shame because I think it's lost something in terms. They're trying to keep it part of the community, City, but it's very hard to do it when you're growing it as fast as they are. Very hard to do it. And I chatted to a Wolves fan before and I said, you know what, mate? I says, I kind of miss them days, He said, well, what do you mean? He says, you've had some great days. I says, yeah, it was great, the success, and we had some great days winning trophies. But I miss that being kind of a mid-table club, going to the big away game at Arsenal and getting 3 points, and you'd be buzzing. Well, I can't believe we've done this today, and you'd be sky high for the Manchester derby now. Here's one for you. Does that really carry the same weight for you when we win it? It doesn't for me.
Not now.
Now, when we were rubbish and we won it, I'd be on. Honestly, I've been cloud nine for 2 weeks because we beat United. It's kind of lost something now. It has.
I interviewed David White last year. I sat down with him for 2 days for the channel, and we talked about the Huddersfield game, and I brought up the United game, the 5-1 at Main Road in '89, and he said to me at the time, "Yeah, no, but it doesn't hold the same thing for me as a player because we were crap basically that season, and it was just a great performance in a very, very poor season." I said, "But as a fan, I got to all my mates were United fans. I got 6 months then of this." Do I feel that now if we beat United? No, because I'm expecting us to beat United.
Well,
and
yeah.
It's like,
I mean, if we don't beat United now, we're having a board meeting as to why we've not done it.
Yeah.
The club's changed that much now.
Yeah.
So it has changed. City. My main grief today was obviously the atmosphere. I thought it was really poor.
I thought it was
today.
very poor today.
I thought it was poor, and I think it's like, at Main Road, the atmosphere was better at Main Road. There's no denying it. I mean, I was a kid going on a teenager and was going to a lot of games at Main Road. I mean, we left Main Road when I was I think I was 16 when we left Main Road. So I spent all my youth and teenage years there. So sometimes everything can seem a bit bigger and louder when you're that age.
Yeah.
But it was a better atmosphere there. It was a proper football stadium. Like Everton are getting a new ground. Be careful, Everton, because you can lose something, man. Yeah. You really can. I think you're better off keeping what you've got. And Liverpool, I mean, well, it looks like they're staying. They're trying to redevelop what they've got. But I've heard Liverpool's quite on a match day in league games. I don't know how true that is, but someone's told me a bigger European nights. We know they turn it on Liverpool.
Yeah.
They're probably the best in the world on the European nights. You could arguably say that, a case for them. How much it paid me to say it. They are on bigger European nights. They're unbelievable. They've won them games, their supporters, on the European night. But on league games, I've heard it's quiet.
Yeah, but like I said last week on YouTube on I think it was on Redmen TV or whoever it was, they were interviewing a guy who's been going for like 20 odd years, season ticket holder, similar to you, and he just went, "It's crap. The atmosphere is crap. It's full of tourists. This is not where I want my club to go." And I don't think he was just saying about the tourists, but he just said the atmosphere, and it was after a Premier League game, and he said it's just not what it used to be. We're getting people that are not turning up for games, and the atmosphere isn't. We get you'll never walk alone at the beginning, and then there's nothing until we score a goal. Then there's something, and then we get a little bit here. He said it never used to be like this.
No, there was only one atmosphere last season for me that really stuck.
Spurs.
I forgot about the Spurs one. Sorry, I was going to say the Liverpool one, the Champions League.
Yeah.
It was really all night. It seemed to just reverberate at a constant noise level.
Spurs was like that. Spurs. I walked away from Spurs the game, even though we got beat.
Spurs,
and I walked out there buzzing, thinking, "Shit, that was just amazing."
I went at the Spurs game because of work.
It was non-stop.
I was at the Liverpool game, but it's like I don't know, man. I mean, I just think, there's something. The atmosphere's really hurt me today in there because the fact I stood up and tried to I have a bit of a go at Otamendi, like sort your napper out kind of thing, and I got told to effing sit down, and I was like, "Well, who are you to tell me that? I pay the same amount of money as you." I don't know, man. There's problems on a bigger scale with football with that. I think within 10 to 15 years, I think it's slowly becoming like from a social point of view, a middle class sport. I think you're going to have money to come here, man. I think you're going to have to be in a good job, earning money. I think, I work in manufacturing. I've got a pretty sort of low end sort of job. I'll put it out there, and if I had kids and I was married in that, I probably wouldn't be able to afford to do it, mate. I'm quite lucky that I don't have kids in that way. But when I do start to have kids in that, all these days will be gone.
It's expensive.
So I don't know where football goes from here, but the atmosphere was poor today. I think the club slowly morphing into Man United in terms of how they're trying to make it into this global club and sell it around the globe. And City fans may say what you want about it. Even United fans may say, no, you're not a global club. We are on that path to being it. You know, so that's just my point, really. But I know, look, the City fans out there are going to absolutely berate me here and say, what are you on about? Fair dues, you're entitled to your point. I'm just making my point, and I know the City fans out there will say, well, some of your points are wrong, what you've said there, but I just feel like the club's creeping on certain things as an organisation with it. Things to do with Manchester's. That's quite contradictory, because I've always said, well, that's them being part of the community and that. But I think I think they creep on big events, like, really, City, like that. They're going to want it's business. I guess that's what they've got to do. I just think there's problems with the atmosphere. It's sad, really. You know, it's sad. And in regards to the performance today, I think I'm not going to get too down. We've had some great success in reaching you. If City never won another trophy now to the day I die, I will die a happy man, mate. Yeah. I'm not arsed. I've seen us win a fucking league title. I never thought it'd happen. I never thought I'd see us win a fucking egg cup. Never mind a league cup. I used to think maybe a league cup one day we'll win a league cup, because Middlesbrough kind of, you know, won one, or Blackburn won one, and you thought maybe City one day could just get to a League Cup final. But to win a league and to win, 4 we've won now, you know, I die a happy man. It's not about the success of winning trophies for me anymore. It doesn't matter to me. But today, like, obviously, I think they've only got themselves to blame with the defence. Should have bought a centre half, shouldn't they? Just simple as that.
Spend more money.
They should have bought a centre half. I mean, Otamendi for me. But when you consider the likes of Dzeko and Nigel de Jong, they weren't around long here at City. Yeah. They bombed them out pretty quick, mate. Yeah. I still think Dzeko could have done a job for us.
18 months, de Jong.
Yeah,
that was it.
I think Dzeko was with us about 3 years, and I think de Jong was about 3 years as well. And they bombed them out after 3 years, I think. Someone will probably tag me and quote me on that, but it was about 3 years. They bombed him out. Otamendi's been here like 5 years, hasn't he? Yeah. We've been carrying him, mate, for 5 years. He's not a good player. Gary Neville was right what he said the other week. That defence has turned into year one under Guardiola. It's that disarray. You can't keep playing Otamendi.
Well, fingers crossed, after the international break we'll have John Stones back at least.
Well, we need him back, don't we?
We do.
I'm not a big fan of him either, but we need him back.
Yeah.
All right, pal.
Well, listen, Danny, I want to say a massive thank you for coming on, buddy.
Cheers, pal.
Keep the faith, brother.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Take care.
See you, pal.